A surgeon caught a nurse doing something with his son. What happened next shocked everyone. Hello, welcome. And welcome back. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe for more uplifting stories. Now sit tight, relax, and enjoy. The children's ward had a way of swallowing sound. Nurses said it was because the walls were too thick, the windows too narrow. But anyone who walked those corridors knew the truth. It was the weight of silence. Room 12 was the quietest of all. The curtains let in only a muted yellow haze, the ceiling fan hummed, and the faint beep of a monitor filled the rest. On the bed closest to the window sat Tunde Adeyemi, 3 years old, with a round face, smooth brown skin, and eyes that seemed too big for him. His yellow shirt had tiny cartoon lions printed on the front. His thin legs dangled off the bed, unmoving. They had never touched the floor, never carried him across a room. From the day he was born, the doctors told his parents the truth. Your son may never walk. Clinical words, but they burned like fire every time they were spoken. His father, Dr. Kunle Adeyemi, one of the hospital's most respected surgeons, had heard those words too often. Tall, sharp-featured, always neat behind his glasses, Kunle carried the confidence of a man who had saved many lives. Yet when it came to his son, that confidence crumbled. He had stopped saying, "when Tunde walks," and had started saying, "if." That morning, Kunle straightened his white coat, kissed his son lightly on the forehead, and left for his rounds. "I'll be back soon," he said. But promises in room 12 always tasted bitter. Left alone, Tunde rolled a toy car back and forth on his lap, without energy. From the courtyard below came the muffled laughter of children running. Their footsteps slapped against the tiles, a sound he longed for but had never made. The door creaked open. A warm voice broke the silence. "My soldier, how are we today?" It was Amara, the pediatric nurse assigned to him that month. Tall, with neat braids tucked under her cap, her skin glowed warmly, and her smile carried magic. Children trusted her before she even spoke. Tunde mumbled, "I'm bored." Amara crouched to his level, tilting her head so her earrings caught the light. "Bored? That doesn't sound like my champion. Should we fix that?" "I can't walk," he said flatly. Her smile deepened. "Who said anything about walking? I'm talking about flying." His toy car froze in his hands. "Flying?" "Yes," she whispered, her eyes twinkling. "Superheroes fly, and you're stronger than most I know." For the first time in days, curiosity flickered in his eyes. "How?" Amara stood, sliding a stool aside with a squeak. "You'll see, but you have to trust me." Amara clapped her hands once, sharp enough to startle him. "All right, Captain Tunde," she said with mock seriousness, "reporting for duty." "Captain?" His lips curved slightly. "Of course, every superhero has a title. And today you're on your first mission." He hugged the toy car to his chest. "But I told you, I can't—" "Shh." She raised a finger to her lips. "Flying doesn't need walking. It needs courage." His eyes blinked wide, torn between disbelief and intrigue. "Do you trust me?" she asked gently. After a pause, he nodded. "Good, then climb aboard." To his surprise, Amara lay flat on her back in the middle of the room, braids spread like a crown. She bent her knees, pointing her feet upward. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Getting ready to fly a superhero," she replied. "Come here." He hesitated, glancing at the door. He had never done anything like this, but her certainty pulled him forward. Sliding off the bed, his weak legs dangled. Amara scooped him carefully, her arms strong but tender, and settled him on her upturned feet. His breath caught. His legs, which had never supported him, were suddenly pressed into a new position. "Don't worry," she soothed. "I've got you. Hold my hands if you like." He gripped them tightly. "Ready?" she asked. "No," he whispered. She grinned. "Perfect. That's how superheroes feel on their first flight." With slow pressure, she pushed her legs upward, lifting him higher and higher until he hovered above her chest, trembling but steady. Tunde gasped. Then came a sound the room hadn't heard in months, sudden bright laughter. "I'm flying," he shouted, arms flung wide. "I'm really flying." Amara's smile spread. "Yes, Captain. You're in the sky now. Do you feel your legs? They're helping you balance." His head bobbed furiously. "Yes, I feel it. That's your power waking up. She shifted her feet, tilting him forward and back, each movement stirring muscles long dormant. But to Tunde, it was only joy. The hospital walls seemed to vanish. No diagnosis, no heavy files, just a boy soaring, his laughter echoing like sunlight. The door clicked open. Neither noticed at first. Standing in the doorway, file loose in his hand, was Dr. Kunle Adeyemi. He froze. His son, his boy who had never stood unaided, was balanced high in the air, legs shaking but alive. Tunde spotted him and shouted with pride, "Daddy!" "Look, I'm flying." Kunle's throat closed, his glasses blurred. I see you, my boy," he whispered, voice cracking. "I see you." For the first time in years, something stirred in him. Not science, not certainty, something he had buried deep. Hope. Kunle lingered in the doorway, his son's laughter echoing like music he had forgotten. For 3 years he had avoided hope. Now it stared him in the face. Finally, he stepped inside, shoes tapping softly against the tiles. His voice trembled despite his effort to steady it. What exactly are you doing?" Amara didn't flinch. She kept Tunde balanced on her feet, guiding him carefully through a small tilt before answering. "Strength training," she said simply, "but he thinks it's flying." Kunle circled them slowly, eyes fixed on Tunde's legs. They were trembling hard, but holding. For the first time, his boy's body seemed alive. "He's supporting himself," Kunle whispered. "Yes, doctor," Amara said calmly. "The strength has always been there. What he needed was belief. No one ever gave him a reason to try." Tunde squealed with joy, arms wide like an airplane. Kunle pressed his fingers to his lips, overcome. "I've tried everything. Surgery, therapy, specialists from abroad. Nothing worked." "And every time," Amara said gently, "they told you what he couldn't do, didn't they?" His silence was answer enough. "Children don't understand limits," she went on. "If you tell them they can't, they believe it. If you let them feel they can, even once their bodies listen." Her words cut through him, exposing guilt he had buried under clinical logic. He had been so focused on science, he forgot imagination. Amara lowered Tunde carefully, then pushed him up again. His laughter rang louder. "See? He isn't thinking about what he cannot do. He's just moving, laughing. And while he's laughing, his legs are remembering." Kunle reached out, brushing his son's ankle as if to confirm it was real. "It's impossible." "No," Amara said softly, her eyes steady on his. "Just possible in a way you never looked for." For the first time in years, Kunle laughed, a short, broken laugh that was half sob. Amara lowered Tunde to the floor, crouching in front of him. "Captain, are you ready for the next mission?" "Yes," Tunde beamed. "This one's called Operation Stand Tall." The boy's smile faltered. "But I can't." Amara pressed her forehead lightly to his. "You can. I'll be here. You won't fall." Tunde swallowed, then nodded. She lifted him until his bare feet touched the cold tiles. His legs shook like jelly. Holding his arms lightly, she whispered, "Push through your toes. Stand tall just like the heroes." Kunle held his breath. Tunde's face tightened with determination. His knees bent, then straightened. Slowly, trembling, his back rose until he was upright. Kunle gasped, his body trembling. His son was standing. 5 heartbeats, 6, then his legs buckled and he fell, straight into Amara's arms. But instead of crying, he laughed, breathless with triumph. "I did it! I really did it!" Kunle dropped to his knees, tears spilling freely as he cupped his son's face. "My son, I saw it. You stood." Tunde grinned. "Did you see me, Daddy? I was tall like you." Kunle laughed through tears, taller, much taller. Room 12 was no longer silent. Laughter spilled out of it every afternoon, the sound of a boy pretending to be a superhero, of a young nurse clapping in encouragement, and of a father rediscovering hope. Day after day, Amara guided Tunde through little missions. Sometimes he flew, balanced on her feet. Sometimes he crawled like a soldier on a secret operation. Sometimes he stood tall for a few seconds longer than yesterday, and every time Kunle watched. Half doctor, half father, wholly a believer in miracles. One afternoon, the golden sun streamed through the blinds, painting stripes across the floor. Tunde wore his cape, a bright red cloth Amara had fashioned from a hospital sheet. He tugged it proudly, convinced it gave him real powers. Amara crouched in front of him. "Captain, today is the big mission, the bravest one yet." Tunde's eyes widened. "Bigger than standing tall?" She nodded. "Yes. Today, you walk just 3 steps, and your father will be waiting." The boy froze, clutching the cape tightly. His lip trembled. "But what if I fall?" Amara leaned closer, touching her forehead to his. "Then I'll catch you. But if you don't try, you'll never know how strong you are." Across the room, Kunle stood with his arms folded too tightly across his chest. He hadn't spoken yet, but his eyes burned. When Amara looked at him, she gave a small nod. Kunle stepped forward, lowering himself to one knee. He spread his arms wide, voice rough but tender. "Come to me, Tunde. Just try. That's all." The boy stared at his father's open arms. Slowly, Amara lifted him to his feet. His legs wobbled instantly. But she steadied him, her hands light under his arms. "Ready, Captain?" she whispered. He nodded, though his eyes glistened. "All right. 1 step. Just 1. She let go, leaving only the air to hold him steady. Tunde bent his knees, straightened, and dragged his right foot forward. It trembled, scraping against the tiles until it landed. He swayed dangerously, but he was still upright. Kunle gasped. "1," Amara whispered. "That's it. Now another." Tunde clenched his fists, dragging his left foot forward. His body wobbled, almost collapsing, but somehow he managed. 2. Amara's voice rose with excitement. The boy whimpered, legs shaking hard. Amara's hands hovered, ready to catch him. "1 more, Captain. Just 1 more. Look, Daddy's waiting." His eyes locked onto Kunle's tear-streaked face. The surgeon was trembling, arms outstretched, lips moving in a silent prayer. Tunde groaned, summoning every ounce of strength. His right foot moved again, weak but determined. And then he fell. Not backward, not sideways. Forward into his father's arms. Kunle caught him, clutching the small body as though it were treasure. His glasses fogged, his shoulders shook, and tears poured freely. "My son, my strong, strong boy." His voice cracked. "You walked to me. You walked." Tunde's laughter was muffled against his father's neck. "Did you see, Daddy? I came to you." Kunle kissed his hair, whispering fiercely, "I saw everything, my son. Everything." Kunle held his son tightly, unwilling to let go. The boy smelled faintly of baby shampoo and hospital sheets, but in his arms he smelled like victory. Tunde lifted his head, cheeks flushed with triumph. "Daddy, tomorrow, can we fly again?" Kunle looked at Amara. She stood nearby, smiling quietly, her eyes glistening though she tried to hide it. "Yes, my son," Kunle said firmly, kissing the top of Tunde's head. "We'll fly every day, until you're ready to run." From then on, Room 12 became a different world. Each afternoon was filled with small victories. Sometimes Tunde stood for longer than before. Sometimes he managed 4 shaky steps instead of 3. And each time he stumbled, Amara was there to steady him, her voice a constant rhythm of encouragement. Kunle never missed a session. He watched every moment, the proud father, the humbled doctor, the man who now believed in miracles. One evening, as Tunde dozed against his pillow after a long round of missions, Kunle lingered by the bedside. The boy's red cape hung loosely from the chair, a reminder of how far they had come. Amara adjusted the blanket over him, her movements careful. When she straightened, Kunle spoke softly. "You've given us more than medicine ever could." His voice cracked as he searched for the right words. "You gave me back my son's future." Amara shook her head gently. "No, doctor. It was always inside him. I just showed him how to find it." Kunle's eyes were wet again. He reached for her hand, gripping it firmly, his gratitude too deep for formality. "Then from this day forward, I'll never let him forget it. We'll believe together." Amara smiled, her face soft in the golden light that streamed through the blinds. "That's all he needs." Silence settled again in the room, but it was no longer heavy. It was the silence of peace, of something whole being stitched back together. Kunle sat by his son's bed, watching his tiny chest rise and fall. The boy who had been bound by silence and impossibility was now a soldier, a captain, a superhero in his own right. As the last rays of sunlight spilled across the tiles, Kunle whispered into the quiet, more to himself than to anyone else. We will never stop believing. Tunde stirred half asleep, his lips curling into a faint smile, as though he heard. And in that moment, with hope burning quietly in their hearts, the future no longer felt impossible. It felt inevitable, because in room 12 of the children's ward, a miracle had begun. Not with medicine, not with science, but with courage, laughter, and the belief that a little boy could fly. If this story moved you, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more inspiring and emotional journeys. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We treasure every message from you. Until we return, stay kind, stay hopeful, and stay with us.
Black Stories. Subscribe, like, and share.